Yo, what is good, people of YouTube and the podcasting world? Welcome back to another episode of Swagger Day Saint. I got my homie Sarah June Brown, Sarah B in the building.
Let's go!
And we just came back from watching Sunday's afternoon session at your boy Trevor's house. And I was like, Sarah, I got the studio in my place. I got the podcast set up. I have yet to do a one-on-one officially in my place. So you were the very first person to break in this podcast setup, this studio. I'm very honored to have her on right now. It's a total blessing. And Sarah B in the building.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So one of the things that I really wanted to talk to Sarah about, I've been out here for 2 weeks now, and Sarah, I was telling her this in the car on the way here, Sarah is family to me. We come from Santa Barbara,
Same
funny
roots.
Yeah, funny enough, I gotta share this story.
Yeah, I love it.
The very first time, you know where I'm going with this?
Yes.
The very first time I'm walking out of the library, and this is my the very, very start. I'm walking out of the library, I got headphones in, I got a hoodie on, I got sunglasses. I don't want to be bothered. I'm walking out, and you and Sister Meyer, Taylor, who is now married and has a kid, shout out to Taylor if you're watching this. She taps me on the shoulder and she's like, hey, we're having a barbecue. And that is what starts everything. That little tap on the shoulder literally changed the course of my life. And that's it. I'm here right now today because of that one instance. And you were there boothing. So Sarah, day one, before any of this, she was there. So it's just a crazy, crazy thing to have you here now, to be in Utah from Santa Barbara.
Both of us, we never saw this coming, right?
Yeah.
We had talked a lot about in Santa Barbara that we had planned on staying in Santa Barbara, and we loved where we were at. And life just really changes its course, and God needs us in other places.
For real. And when I was stressing about moving out here, because I was praying about it for a long time, and it felt really, really right. That was the move. And I was asking, you gave me the best response out of the classic question, which do you like better, Santa Barbara or Utah? And everyone's gonna have their own preferences based off of where they grew up, their life, how they want to live, right? And so us being in Santa Barbara and being part of the same ward and the same community, and like you said, having the same roots, we have similar ideals in how we want to live our life. So just hearing your perspective on it was a crucial thing for me before making that decision. And you were obviously it is what you make it, but at the same time, you're like we just said in the elevator, it's kind of dead in Santa, the Saint community in Santa Barbara is just not, our bishop tried to grow it, and we were there to support, and we were trying to grow it too. We all united for the same cause, which was to grow a Utah-esque thing in Santa Barbara, and we were fingers crossed, while we were watching conference, while Nelson's Santa Barbara Temple, let's go, come on, we'll go back right now, let's go. And so yeah, the beautiful thing that it'll always stick with me is Utah is just, it's kind of where you have to be at to date and be around more members and to see that. But at the same time, this is a thing that I really wanted to get into, which was all the cons of being in Utah, and just the stress and the environment. And once again, I've only been here 2 weeks and I'm already seeing it. So it's just it's the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And
we heard a lot about it in Santa Barbara, and we all had told everyone we're never moving to Utah. We're not going to be those people.
Yeah, we're just going to, it'll happen here. It is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Santa Barbara was hard to live in too. There was lots of hard things about that, but we had all really had that faith to continue living there. Yeah. Even though it was hard.
I think that's something you want to talk about too, if you want to get into it, which was Santa Barbara is for those that don't know, temptation of the temptation, that is where it's party city there. Ivy, Goleta, people that have been know what we're talking about, or people that live there know what we're talking about. It's notorious for, you get sucked into that lifestyle.
Yeah, it's a tough, very, very worldly place. And our church, we always talk about not being of the world. Yep. But, when you're surrounded by that constantly, and the friends you're hanging out with are involved in that lifestyle, it's really hard to, kind of be different and be a part of that. But yeah, I don't know. It's so weird.
Shout out to your girl, Izzy, too. So much love. The friendships that you built there are so real, so genuine, just different. But tough because you're I love you so much, and I want you to come to church with me. And I saw that you just, Izzy, come with me, please. And it's just it's a heartbreaking thing, isn't it? Because I went through that too.
Because you love these people, you had said so much, but you know that they are missing something. They're missing that bigger picture, that eternal perspective. And I remember when my good friend, she started taking missionary lessons. I was like stoked. Yeah. I was so happy. And I had really just like been praying for her and hoping that it would work out, but it didn't. And that's totally fine. Everybody takes their different course, but it's definitely a challenge for sure. But I'm also so grateful to have the knowledge that I do, you know, and knowing the things that I do and kind of seeing what the world is like. For example, you see a lot of people hooking up with a lot of people.
We're talking about SB right now?
Yeah, we're talking about SB. So
casual sex. Yes. Let's just put it out there. That's just what it is.
Casual sex, everybody.
Casual sex is an SB thing, yeah.
Yeah, you see that a lot. And to be honest, like, you're like, oh, well, maybe I want that.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. When you're around it and that's what everyone's doing, like, it's tough. It's just a thing where it's like, these people seem to be having a great time. But obviously, it's not, like, we know that's not what it is, you know, but it's a worldly, like, you know.
And you see, I was struggling in my life. And so I viewed all of my friends and I looked at their lives and they were drinking and they were smoking and having sex. And I was like, they're happy. Like, and I'm not happy right now. So maybe, so maybe I need to do the things that they're doing to feel that happiness.
Yeah.
But in our church, we experience those trials and God wants us to work through those trials without resorting to those worldly things.
Yeah. And I also, too, this is the core thing of, like, a reiterated thing all throughout conferences, that judgment. Everyone has their own path to figure out their own life.
So much.
And it's that much harder to navigate and pick the right thing for yourself when everyone around you is trying to tell you how to live your life or trying to put you down and be like, you're in the wrong or whatever. And it's just like, it's sad to see that. And there was a little bit of that in Santa Barbara. And from the 2 weeks that I've been here and just seeing, like, having my eyes open to just talking to different people, and like immediately people want to put you in a box and characterize you as one thing, you know? And it's crazy. I don't want to speak too much about it, but just immediately everyone's just trying to, like, be on their best behavior or, like, show you the best side of themselves. And it's so not real. Like, out the gate, I can tell, like, this person doesn't want to be their real thing. Like, they're just trying to be like, look at me, look at how great I am, you know? Versus, like, in Santa Barbara, it was just like, dude, we're all flawed. Like, I'm not in a good spot. This person's not in a good spot. We can talk about it. Versus, like, every day, everyone's just being like, I'm living my best life. I have no down days. Like, that honesty in that, I don't know. That's just like as something that I noticed, I guess, but it's harder to be real here. Yeah,
this makes me think of Bishop's role. Every Sunday, we'd be done with church and everything, and our bishop would be in the building until about 5 p.m. And he has a family, he has kids, but he spent all day talking to us in the ward. You know, we'd come to Bishop and we would just tell him everything that we were struggling with or that we had questions about, and he was there. But I feel like what I've heard in Utah is, like, if I say, like, yeah, I'm going to talk to the bishop, it's immediately like a negative reaction. Like, oh, dude, she's talking to the bishop. Like, what'd you do? But that's the thing, is in Santa Barbara, it was so real because we all knew we were imperfect, you know, and we did live in such a worldly place.
And that's why our bishop was the freaking GOAT. He was the best, dude. He was so great. Come on.
And he showed the most perfect Christ-like example because Christ knows that we're not perfect.
And I've heard personal accounts of people having, like, horrible, horrible bishops.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all I know is this guy. I didn't even want to, this is sad and this is wrong on my part, I'll admit. I didn't take the chance to get to know the new bishop in Santa Barbara, but I was just in such a world of hurt.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to be like, well, this is my new bishop now, and this is just what it is. Like, his spot, and like we always said, his shoes, like, they couldn't be filled. Like, and that's it. Like,
I mean, along with that, Charles, like, my church records are still in Santa Barbara.
No, what?
Yeah. So.
Oh, your heart is still there, and that's like.
That's the thing is, like.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if I've told you this.
Probably not.
The day of our bishop's passing, I actually had a bishop text me, and he had sent this long text message of like, hey, we're so grateful to have you in the area. Let's get your records transferred over today. And I was feeling pretty good. Like, hey, I've been in Utah for a while. Like, maybe I should do it. Maybe I kind of need to move forward from Santa Barbara. And then I got the call that night about my bishop, and I said, no, I can't do this. You know, like, my heart is in Santa Barbara. My heart is with Bishop Sorensen. Like, dude, he changed my life. He changed all of our lives.
All of our lives. His hands brought me into the baptismal waters.
Yeah.
Like, that's so core. Like, my memory is forever him dunking me in the water. I'm coming out sin-free. Like, you know, I don't know. It's just, he has such a special place in my heart that it's like, I can't, to me, when I say bishop, his face comes to mind. Nothing else.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like be in Utah and know that there's so many bishops and wards in Utah. So there's probably...
The love is not going to be the same, point blank, period.
So here's like, there's about 190 YSA wards, young single adult wards, 190 bishops, okay? And there's like so many members, so you can walk into a ward. Bishop won't even recognize that you're...
Doesn't know your name, doesn't...
Yeah, and that's okay.
Doesn't really care all that much.
Yeah, that's okay because it's different, but it's, you know, for us coming from...
Bishop was our dad, dude.
Yeah.
He was our dad.
You see a new face and instantly you have 20 people running to that person of like, what is your name? You know? Because asking somebody's name, like, so simple, but like, it means so much.
You're seen, you're known, you're appreciated, you're loved.
Yeah.
We all want to feel that, you know? And it's that much tougher too. Honestly, I had a great experience going to what I thought was my ward. Everyone was so nice and welcoming. So it left a really good impression and a really good taste in my mouth. Like, everyone was very sweet, and like I had candid talks. Shout out to this guy named Thomas if he ends up watching this. He was just like, dude, I've bounced around. I know how hard it is. Like, I'm here for you. If you need anything, here's my number. Like, everything right out the gate. Like,
I love that.
Just so sweet, reaching out. So I think an important thing too is like, just reach out, you know, as easy as it is, the new person, just that tap on the shoulder once again changes lives. Another topic I really wanted to get into was your dating experience in Utah, because I just feel like it's so interesting. And I really want to break down the cultural differences of worldly dating and like LDS dating, because I'm just like, I'm still very fresh and new to this. So I'm like learning the game, the LDS game as it goes, being in the motherland or whatever. So where do you want to start?
I'll tell you my first experience kind of dating in Utah. I had been going out with this boy and he was amazing, and I thought things were going really well.
The RM.
Yes, the RM. So I thought things were progressing, and one night we were just sitting down and he had asked me like, hey, what are you thinking about us? And I was like, well, I'm like kind of ready to go into things, you know, because we've been going out for a while. Yeah. And he had kind of paused.
How long have you guys been dating officially, would you say? Just a time frame, just to see.
Probably for about 2 months, maybe.
2 months. That's such an LDS time. Like, we were serious for 2 months.
But
come on, boy. Let's go. No. Let's get it.
No, so we weren't even officially dating. We were just going on dates. So he was asking.
Dates for 2 months? But
probably.
But it was like kind of established, right? And that's the thing that I've realized. Like, is it weird to be like, yo, like, I really like you? Like, that's not a thing, right? Because I'm thinking about right now, like, I don't know how to go about this girl that I really like. I've caught a vibe with this girl and like, I like her, and I don't know if I'm like, hey, like, because I've heard so many different things. Some girls are like, I want a guy to tell me, and other girls are like, I want to play the game. Yeah. So I don't know, like, which route to take. Like, do I just keep playing the game with her, or do I caught a vibe, I like you, like, what's good?
I say give it time for sure.
Give it time. But okay, don't rush it, obviously, because it's just like, whoa, chill there, buddy. We've been on 3 dates. Like,
my favorite thing from Santa Barbara is like organic. Like, you want it to all be organic. You know, you want to feel it out. You want to make sure she's feeling the same thing. But
so real.
Back to my story. So he had asked me like what he wanted, like what I, you know. Right. And I was like, well, I'm ready to start dating you. I thought this was going and progressing.
A little bold. Pretty bold.
Yeah. Yeah. And I felt confident in it. And then he was like, well, I think I need to keep going out with other people to know if this is right. That's something you'll hear in Provo.
That's common.
A lot.
Oh.
Because there's
you were ready to tie it. You were ready to be like, I'm just seeing you. No more dates with other people. This is it.
Yeah, because I wasn't seeing anyone else. Right. But he had been, you know, and that's very common in Utah because there's so many people. And I think that's something the Utah culture, what I really struggle with is a lot of people look for perfection. And we know that nobody's perfect here.
Nobody is perfect.
But I feel like in the dating world here,
grass is always greener. It's such a common thing that I'm hearing. Grass is always greener.
So much. Oh, that was like my first experience, and I was like, I can't do this. This is so hard.
Yeah, and this was pretty decently, obviously no names, but decently recent.
This was last year, right when I moved
Last
here.
year. Okay. And how about like right now? You talking to anybody? Like what's
we're trying to feel it out, like
feel
you
it
had
out.
said.
Classic. Yeah.
But I guess from all the negative experiences I've had,
Just be careful. Don't.
Yeah.
I think another thing too is like people are scared to get attached.
Yeah.
Like you want the other person to get attached first and lay it out on the line, right?
Yes.
Where it's like, I don't want to be stressing about, oh, I'm attached, but this person doesn't really like me. Like, it's just a lot there. And I'm seeing it, dude. I don't know. I'm just like, it's like, this is why dating, it's actually not an easy thing, especially in our little LDS thing where it's just like, I'm just going to keep it 100. Our values and our standards are so much higher.
Yes.
Like once you really like accept and embrace the gospel, you're just like, I don't want to settle for anything less than like a temple worthy, like, I don't know. Everyone has their own standards, but just like ideally, like you want to have a person that can hold the house down, that can raise kids, that can provide.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what people want. Like as much as it's not said, like girls are looking for a guy that can provide stability. Like,
yeah, that brings me into an experience that I pretty recently had.
Yeah.
I was going out with this guy we had met on New Year's. Obviously, no names. And,
no names.
We had been going out on a lot of dates and we'd been hanging out. We had the same friends.
Yeah.
And we were like casually kissing, you know, like every time we saw each other.
Oh, was it Nick Mo? That's the thing, right? Nick Mo here, not committal makeup.
Well, here's the
Utah
thing is,
culture,
like,
man.
I was
Utah
catching
culture.
feels. I was feeling it. And
You caught a vibe hardcore.
hardcore.
Okay.
Like, really good guy.
Yeah.
And, like, RM, return missionary.
That'll do it. That's the stamp of honor in Utah.
But at the same time, I was, like, wanting to take things slow because I was recovering from my last relationship. But,
Right.
you know, we had, like, hung out a lot. And so I just remember one night in particular, like, we were having the time of our lives.
What was it? What were you guys
We
doing?
were literally, like, dancing in the kitchen. Like, it was awesome.
That's a movie scene right there.
Yes. And then,
Music blasting.
Oh, honestly, no. We were
Dude, that's a vibe.
jamming
That's
to
a
our-
vibe. That's a vibe.
So we were feeling it. And he like went and sat down and he's like, Sarah, I just want to let you know I'm going on a date with someone this Saturday. And my response was, you know what? It's okay. Like, we're not like committed to each other. So I was like, you know what? I want you to be happy and like you do your thing.
It's something you have to accept.
Yeah, of course. Cause like we weren't, you know, official, and that's totally fine. And I didn't think anything of it because, you know, I knew our history and I knew our chemistry.
Fair play.
And then we kept hanging out after that. And about like 2 weeks after or something, he kind of like slowly stopped talking to me. But we'd like occasionally like go play volleyball together.
Right.
And anyways,
Dealing with breakups is messy too, because once you make it official,
yeah,
there's like obligations involved, and you're just like, you don't want to be labeled as a bad guy, because word spreads in LDS community like freaking wildfire. Like if people label you as something and it spreads, good luck, buddy. Like that's why everyone moves so careful. And once again, I'm only saying this because like I'm just realizing these things. Like I'm just like, dude, everyone moves so careful. Everyone doesn't trust people with their secrets. Like once again, coming from Santa Barbara and that family community, you trusted people, you know, like you trust Igor, you trust Sarah, you trust Art, you trust, you know, these people to sit down and have a real candid conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not always about like a highlight reel of like, look at what I'm doing. It's just like, I'm not having the best day today. Like, let's just sit down and talk.
Yeah. And I love how you talked about that honesty. And so with this guy that I was going out with, he kind of like slowly stopped talking to me. And I was like, hey, like, I need to know because I'm like, you know, I'm obviously in this, you know, and I care about you. And he had told me, he's like, honestly, Sarah, like, I'm very busy. Like, I'm trying to figure out volleyball and school and work. What? And I was like, okay, that's totally fine. Like, and he had shared that he was kind of struggling. And so I was like, I respect that. Like, and I'm here as your friend and I'm here for you and I want to be there for you. So anyways, about 2 weeks of that, of me like putting in effort and like showing that I cared, he then last week or like a little bit a while ago, he posted a picture with a girl and now they're dating. So I love that whole idea of the Santa Barbara community being honest, because honesty lacks in Utah because there's so many people that it's easy to say of like, hey, like I'm busy, I don't need to talk to you, you know, or like I'm not really
flaky
feeling it.
culture is what I've heard.
Yes.
Hardcore. People are just so flaky because it's like a girl will have 3 dates lined up and she'll pick which one.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's how it is like there's not pure honesty. Like you can tell me that you don't want to go out with me and that there's someone else. That's totally fine. But I want that instead of I'm busy.
That's what and I think that's so key that we should push.
Yeah.
Just people appreciate honesty and that's it. And it's honestly not that hard to do.
Yeah.
Because lying is just like the worst thing.
Yeah. And something someone had told me recently was like, even though you are kind of being honest, like maybe you are busy, you're not giving the full truth, which means it is a lie.
Yeah. And isn't lying like a sin in the gospel, or is that?
Yes, so much.
Yeah. So just be open and obviously don't be rude.
Yeah. But
just respectfully, hey, whatever. If you're seeing somebody else, if you got another date lined up, like it would be appreciated, right?
Yeah. So, and I thought that we were in that kind of space of like where we could be very honest with each other, but I just kind of got backfired, and then he's posting pictures of this other girl, which is fine, but
yeah,
you just lack that honesty, I guess.
I want to be honest right now and tell you something. I just want to kind of just put it out there because it's kind of been weighing on me, but I kind of moved out here for this girl.
No way.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'd feel comfortable. I don't even know if I feel comfortable, like, but it was like a total risk of just like, this girl's out here, and she was a huge, like, obviously, Bishop, it was a lot of factors. Like the conversation that we had, Bishop passing, this girl being out here, mutual friend of a friend. And I was just like, and I always had this back and forth thing with her where we'd always just message and like kind of get to know each other, just check up on each other. But I was like, okay, now's the perfect time. And like, hopefully I get to take her out when I get here. And this is my story. Like I've taken her out a few times. Like I've caught a vibe, and now I don't know what is the best way to go about it. And it's just like a little stressful because I'm like,
a little stressful.
You know what I mean? Like I want to do this the right way. I don't want to blow this because like I kind of told this girl, I'm like, yo, I'm one and done. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? I'm cool with I haven't told her, I'm not like, yo, I have my eyes set on you. Like that's trippy because it's like, but that's the thing. Cause I've talked to other girls about this, and they're like, honestly, Charles, like I would have loved for a guy to just been straight up like, hey, I like you. I've caught a vibe with you. I am so down to lock it up. We don't have to see other people. Let's stop playing games, because it is a stressful thing.
It is.
And so I'm just conflicted right now, which is why I wanted to get this out, is like, do I keep playing this game that's like, it's just like anxiety and just questions, or am I just like sit her down? I'm like, hey, let's look, like we've hung out a few times. Like, I don't want to weird you out, but I like you. Like, you know?
Honestly, I had a conversation with Igor, a good friend from Santa Barbara, and I felt like I had kind of started falling into the Utah culture, and he had told me, he's like, what did you learn from Santa Barbara? What did Santa Barbara teach you? Yeah. And so my question for you is, what did Santa Barbara teach you about this? Because my immediate reaction is communication.
That's so
right.
That's huge. Yeah.
And I love how you said like you're a one and done kind of person. Like you like this girl and you're not really looking for anything else.
I'm not looking for anything. If I caught a vibe with you, I'm not looking over my shoulder like who's better than you, who else can I take out, whose Instagram can I stalk. I'm good.
And that's Santa Barbara in you right there, Charles. Like it really is. It's so true. And I think the biggest thing to communicate to this girl is like, hey, like I want to progress with you. Yeah. Do you feel the same? Because I think one of the biggest mistakes here is people think they have to jump into a relationship. That's not true.
You don't have to do that. Yeah. No pressure. Yeah.
The biggest question is like, do you want to progress with me? Because I see this going further.
I do. And that's the question that I've answered. Like, yeah, I don't want to play games. I don't want to play Utah games. I don't want to buy into Utah culture and be like, yo, to show you how cool of a guy I am, I'm going to take out 3 other girls and flex on you and post it on my story. I don't want to do that. Yeah. I don't want to do that. And I noticed, like, once again, hearing from other people's perspectives, there's a lot of Utah guys that want to flex and be like, yo, I'm taking all these girls out on these dates and I'm hot stuff. You know what I mean? Like good for you, buddy. Like that's great. Like if I catch a vibe with you, I don't want to, like, I just want it to be real and authentic. And once again, that's Santa Barbara. Like which is tripping me out about Utah that I've once again picked up on, is the authenticity is just there's such a difference in the two places with authenticity. So
yeah, I love that. Actually super cool. I had this guy I've been kind of going out with, trying to fill things out. He actually said the exact same thing to me today of like, you know what? I don't need to date anyone else because you're the person, like you're the kind of person I want to date. Yeah. And so I do know from experiences that there's a lot of bad dating experiences out there, but it's just taking that one person to say, I don't need to date anyone else.
Let's make it work. Let's make it work.
Yeah.
And I'm willing. And this is something that I told this girl this, and this was the little bit of realness that I was able to get into, was like, I'm all about compromise. Like, I just want to say, like, I'm literally the most loyal person you'll ever meet. Like, I'm just going to put it out there.
It's true.
And I'm willing to compromise. Like, if I have my things set, I'm willing to do my end, go the distance and do my very best effort to make it work because I'm serious about it. Yeah. And I think that's the tough thing, is like trying to find someone that's also willing to carry their weight in that, because it's just like everyone's scared of getting their heart broken. Everyone's scared of getting played with. Mm-hmm. Everyone's scared of looking stupid.
One thing I just thought about that Charles and I were just like blown away. Our amazing friend Jordan, she showed us shout out to Jordy if you're watching this. She showed us this amazing example of the triangle.
Let's get it
of dating. Yeah. And because for me, I'm like constantly focusing on like, hey, this guy's super awesome. Like, you know, that's been my main focus, is kind of dating. Because it is such a real stress here in Utah.
So stressful. That is the core thing. You got a wifey yet? You got a ring on your finger? What's good?
Yeah. You dating someone?
Yeah.
Charles, who you dating? Huh? What's she like?
I'm gonna keep it low. I don't want. Yeah.
So Jordy said that the top of this triangle is God, our Heavenly Father, and His Son Jesus Christ.
Yes, sir.
And we're on one side, on the bottom of the triangle, and then our spouse or mate is on the other side. She talked about, as you are progressively getting closer to God and Jesus Christ, you go up that triangle.
You're getting closer to each other.
Yeah.
And that's, where do you want to be on that spectrum? You know,
totally.
You want to be right with God and the other person wants to be right with God? Great. Let's meet there and let's get it. Or do you want to be somewhere else? And it's like, you're not there yet. Yeah. And that person might be there yet or not there yet, whatever. But that ties back to our own progression.
So much.
So, yes. And that's it. And it's, once again, it's just that much harder because the judgment and the eyes and
I know.
It's heavy.
But one thing I loved that a different friend I had shared this with, he said that as you are progressively coming closer to God, and your spouse is as well, or your friend or the person you're going out with, you're not only are you guys coming closer to God together, but you're coming closer to each other as you're going up that triangle. Yeah. So as you both center that focus on God and Jesus Christ, you both are just doing the best. Right.
Don't these people know you're locked in? You're on a podcast.
I know.
What are they doing?
Who is actually this boy who just called me? I met him at In-N-Out a while ago.
Oh, okay.
I was feeling heartbroken, and then I gave him my number, and then he's now one of my greatest friends.
Dang, Sarah's out here just getting it. You know, Sarah's out here.
There's lots of people here, but
should I link your Instagram in the bio just so any cuties see you? They're like, I want to hit that Sarah. I got you. I'm all about, for the cause.
And, another thing Charles and I were talking about is
hit me.
In Santa Barbara, these guys, these people in my ward are my family. They're like so my best friends.
People want to assume, people want to do things like, dude, we're so, the love that we have and share, like, it's family, the ties. And honestly, a lot of people aren't going to understand that. They're not going to get that, and they're going to make assumptions and this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, we know, like, how real and genuine we have it, and that's it,
So. And I've just experienced that coming to Provo. Like, I can't really be like touchy-lovey with like my guy friends because
does this girl like me? Does she want me? Does she want to be me? I think this girl wants to be my wife. Like, she so wants me right now. Like, these people are so deprived.
Yeah.
Not to bash on anybody, but
obviously there's pros and cons everywhere you go.
All right, Sarah just had to flex on us real quick about the guys blowing up her phone. So it's light. Sarah's got boys on deck. It is what it is. Like,
come on.
What were we talking about before it cut out? Do you remember?
Friendships
between
a guy and a female.
And people don't get that. So I guess it's not a thing, because I remember, shout out to Kylie Anderson, who was posting like nonstop stories about can guys and girls be friends. And now I'm understanding why she was so stressed about this. You know, like in Utah, pretty non-existent.
Yeah.
If a guy's trying to talk to you, chances are he's trying to do something. Get a make out, get a cuddle session in, whatever, you know? I don't know. What is your experience with like, cause like you've had some awkward encounters of like, I'm cool with being your friend, but I don't know how to be your friend and also be polite about not wanting to go out with you, right? Like talk about that.
I think that is like one of my biggest struggles is like when you're going out with someone on dates and you're like, you really genuinely like the person, but you're just not.
The vibe is not there.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so as a girl, for me, I hate like breaking people's hearts. So it's like really hard for me to like communicate that, hey, I'm not really feeling this, but I want to be your friend.
How do you do it? How do you do that when you're like, hey, I'm not feeling it? Like, do you say that to their face? Do you call them? Do you text them? FaceTime? What do you do when you're like, I got to let this guy down easy? Like,
yeah, I think it's been different every time, obviously.
Okay.
There are some people that I like genuinely really, really care about. And, you know, I think it's important face-to-face contact.
Right.
And just like, for me, like we had talked about that honesty of like, you are genuinely like
an amazing
person,
yes.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
like everybody has such different qualities. And I love that about dating because you just get to see like who someone is.
Right.
But I also think it's important to note that it's okay if it doesn't work out between someone because I can promise you like there is someone out there for you, you know, and that's something I've experienced and I have a big testimony over is like God will like give you someone and he knows the perfect person
100%,
for you.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. I think another added stressful thing too is like people get married so young in this church.
So young.
And so it's just stressful when you're like, I'm 22 and I'm not booed up. I'm 23 and I'm not booed up. Like, oh my gosh, dude. Yeah. Like, cause people are getting wifed up at 18. Shout out to Jacobo and his brother-in-law. He married a girl and she had literally just turned 18, like on their like marriage. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like fresh, literally right out of high school got married.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. So at my work, I see almost like over 100 girls and women come in who have been divorced at my age. So for me, a big fear is built up of like, holy crap, I don't want to get married right now because I have just seen like how much somebody changes within a month.
Dude,
right?
So seasons, we're all seasonal. Like summer could be great. Winter comes around. It's a whole nother beast. People change and that's just, But
it's one of God's greatest commandments. Yeah. And so that is why it's so heavily pushed on people here in the church is because, you know, you make those covenants with your spouse.
We have to grow together. That is the whole point. We might not see eye to eye on everything, but we're going to make it work. Yeah. Because our central focus is the gospel and our family.
Yeah. I'll tell you something too. I was with one of my good friends last night and she's engaged and I had asked her fiance, like, how did you know she was the one?
Yeah.
And they're both returned missionaries. They're about 23. And the guy, his name's Trek, he said...
Shout out to Trek.
Shout out to Trek. He was saying, you know what, September, I would not marry her if she was like the hottest babe or anything. Like for me, I'm marrying her because she loves God and she makes me want to be a better person and she helps me be better. And she's one of the most faith-filled people I've ever met in my entire life. Oh. So it's not about the looks. It's not about who's the hottest person. But it's like all about your friendship and your relationship with God that matters, I feel like.
Yeah.
Right?
We get distracted and we get caught up in the vain things of the world.
Oh my gosh, get this. This actually made me think of something.
Yeah, hit me.
So I was on this date and... For me, I love the gospel. Santa Barbara really gave me that love.
Testimony. Santa Barbara will build your testimony.
Yeah. And I was on this date and I was like asking all these questions about like Christ and about his mission. And he was like sharing all these stories throughout the night. And then at the end of the night, he was like, Sarah, you know, that's the most I have talked about my mission with somebody. And I've been home for a year. And he's like, you know what? Man. These girls in Provo don't talk about the gospel on dates. It's kind of like, what's your favorite color? You know?
So lame. Yeah. So lame.
But
come on
Santa
now.
Barbara,
what are we doing? No,
like,
that would never happen.
Yeah, no. And I just like think because the gospel is just so like highly centered here, people just lose sight.
Take it for granted is a common thing. Like
so much.
Because it's everywhere. There's temples everywhere. There's chapels, institutes everywhere. Like you're just like surrounded by it that you can forget because you're like, well, I'm in it.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. I'm in Utah. I'm here.
Yeah. So that was like crazy for me to hear, because I want somebody who's going to sit there and talk about God with me, like that's important.
Yeah. Dang, that's a trip. And honestly, that's something that I got to take and run with and think about, is like, obviously that whole idea of a spiritual equal, being able to have those conversations, those spiritual conversations.
Yeah.
Because I think a thing that I've realized is I was in a 7-year relationship, and one of the biggest things is a lack of patience. When somebody has a lack of patience, it's hard to get anything done. Wow. It's hard to progress. It's hard to move forward. And so I've been able to build like that patience somewhat by staying faithful and like always turning to like reading scriptures every night and finding peace with that, where it's like, just because you pray for a week or a month or a few months, like your prayer might not be answered in that time, but having that faith that eventually it will, in God's own way. And so that's been a trying and a testing thing, is like, you want your life to go a certain way. You want these things. You have these ideals. Some people are like, I want to get married at 25. That's the number that I want to get married at. There's this. I want to do this. I want to get my PhD at this age. I want to get this job at this age. I want to move here at this age. And sometimes God doesn't have those plans for you. God has other plans for you. You might want to go to BYU and you end up getting into UCSB, and then you figure out a year or 2 years later that, there's a reason for all that. I needed to meet the people that I met. I need to God wanted me to build my testimony so that I'd be prepared for the next thing. Yeah. And I think that's, that all stems from patience, being patient, trusting the Lord. And that's it, being centered in this gospel. Like, things might not always go your way, but when you have that faith in God, like, you will find joy and be happy with his outcome.
Mm-hmm. Bishop would always do this. I remember he would always do this.
Yeah. Bishop's, oh man.
Let me ask you this, Charles.
Hit me.
Since you've moved here, and the
short time that I've been here, yes.
Short time that you've been here, how have you felt within the gospel, like being here and like in dating and stuff? Because you had talked about moving here for that girl, but like, are you regretting moving here?
No, not at all. I've received multiple confirmations on multiple different occasions that this is exactly where I need to be at this time in my life. There's things that I need to learn and figure out for myself. And so I'm perfectly okay. It's just, and once again, that whole saying, and I firmly believe this, God does not put you through anything that you cannot handle.
So true.
And sometimes, obviously, we get lost in, I can't do this. God, why is God doing this to me?
Why?
Why am I going through this? Why am I here? Why am I, whatever. Once again, that patience, that long suffering, and that faith. It's tough, man. I would have never thought in my I didn't even know where Utah was on a map. I'm so bad with geography. Like, I could have lived my whole life never knowing what Utah is or was, or ever having heard of it. The only reason I'm here right now is because, once again, going back, that tap on the shoulder, getting not lost, but getting found in this gospel, being solidified in it, bringing both of my parents into it. I'm in it. I can't, like, my parents are riding with me. We're going. We are going. You know what I mean? Yes. We're on the same page. Me, my mom, and my dad were like, we're going to be hugging in heaven, and that's what we're working towards. That's the vision. That's the goal, And with that core foundation of family, like, I want to take that with my wife. I want to have a person. That's the core thing. It's not just 70, 80, 90 years of this. We are building for forever.
I love that. It's so funny now that you're talking. I kind of am remembering some experiences that we had, like with the missionaries. We were telling Charles about Utah. He had never been here before. Never. Didn't know much about it. And we told Charles of like, oh yeah, like 60 people are in one ward, or like. It
sounded so good to me. You guys gave me, like, it's like, I'll give this analogy. It's like Disney. It sounded like Disneyland. People want to put it like Disneyland. The rides, the food, the hat, the ears, right? And you're just like, wow, that's so great. Got to wait 3 hours in line for all these people trying to get on the same ride, right? You want to get a bottle of water? That'll be $8. Like, people don't talk about all that stuff about Disneyland. Also admission costs, insane. Like, a lot of stress added to it. And then just planning a vacation too is a very stressful thing. Yeah. But people put you on this. The pretzels are so good. They have amazing chicken tenders there. Like,
so many boys and girls to date.
Yeah, like, exactly. So it's just like, it was shown to me as a Disneyland, but now I'm realizing, like, you got to pay a price. There's a price for everything. Nothing in this life is really free except the gospel, except Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ and his atonement is free. Anyone can take it. But aside from that, you got to pay a price for things in this life. So.
I love that. And we were telling you about BYU and you're like, no way. There's a university that is like centered on the gospel.
Yeah. I ate it up. And now I'm realizing, you know, people don't talk about the negatives of a place, especially when you're there. Because people may feel animosity towards being there. There's a joke. Oh my gosh, so funny. There's this comedian, shout out to Andrew Schultz, and his joke is perfectly ties into this, where he's just like, it's funny that you rep your country when you leave it. Oh. Everyone comes to America, Viva Mexico, whatever. Everyone reps their country, but it's like, it's just so funny that like you want to come here. God bless America. Like everyone wants to come here, you know, like. You love your country, but not enough to live in it for your whole life. Like, you know? It's
so true.
So,
and yeah. I feel like I've just greatly appreciated Santa Barbara so much more that I've been here. Yeah. Like, and every time I go back to Santa Barbara, I'm reminded of all the lessons I had learned.
That's one of the key things for me as well is I messaged you this and you're like, I commented 3 times on your thing. I'm like, Sarah, I'm realizing how great Santa Barbara is. Like, I didn't know how good I had it. And you messaged me, like, DM me, like, are you okay, buddy? Like, are you good? I'm like, dude, I'm just realizing like we had it so good in Santa Barbara. We had it so good. And once again, that was all I knew. So I was like, a little bit of that grass is greener mentality of like, maybe Utah's even better than Santa Barbara. And in some ways it is. In some ways, Utah is better than Santa Barbara. But in what we built and our roots and where we come from in Santa Barbara is like... that genuine, authentic friendship, conversation, community building, bonding, love in a family environment, in a real family environment. Same people showing up to the events, the little get-togethers after church. So much love.
I remember. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I remember one Friday night in particular. So Friday nights in Isla Vista, crazy.
Wild time.
Like. You see hundreds of girls just like not really wearing clothes, just walking around.
Hose
like,
don't get cold.
It's very true. And you know, you see like just all these girls walking into frat parties and you hear all these sirens.
Literally half naked. Like,
yes. Yep. You hear all these sirens because people are blacked out drunk on their driveways. You know, but I remember one night in particular, there's about 4 or 5 of us, and we sat in the Institute building. And we kind of watched as the world would go by. We'd see all the girls walk by.
Me, you, Art, all that, and just chill. Yeah.
But we just sat in that Institute building and
talking about the gospel, and we're like, dude, like we could be there doing that with them. Yeah. But we're just here in Institute talking and having a good time.
And it was so safe.
Like, so safe. Oh my goodness. Just
You know, and that's something I really appreciate about California is you see the world very clearly.
Yes.
And that, you know, you have to really decide what you want.
Yeah.
And I think you can come to Utah and you can decide to be very faithful, or you can decide to be lax with everyone else. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
I love those experiences.
And yeah, that's the thing, tying back to our whole thing of, you know, that person, like, and what you talked about, being able to find that person here and then leaving. And maybe settling, like you said, settling down in Santa Barbara.
Oh my gosh.
Right? Like just getting that person... getting away from all this, like I don't want to, once again, we kind of touched upon this, like hostile, competitive environment. Everyone's trying to get it, you know, everyone's looking over their shoulder. Grass is always greener, but just me and you, baby, against the world.
Against the world.
We out. Let's build our castle and not have to worry about anybody else. Like my ideal life is, I don't need social media. I don't need to show people what I'm doing. And that's one of the things, Bishop, right? I look at his life. He didn't need to show off anything of his life. Humble guy, had the world in the palm of his hands. All he cared about was helping us. That's it, you know? And a life of service.
And sacrifice.
And so it's just like getting to that point where it's like he has his family, he has 8 kids, and he's finding fulfillment and joy in helping us young adults find our way in life. And that brought him so much joy, is sitting down with Sarah Brown or Charles in his office after a Sunday and just talking and feeling vulnerable and comfortable with.
And me crying my eyes out to Bishop because I didn't know where I was at in life.
Yeah. And then, but the biggest thing once again is being comfortable doing that and feeling like he's there for you, truly there for you, and listening.
And that's like the thing I'm really struggling with here in Utah is like, do I want to be vulnerable with my bishop? Because, you know, because of where we were living at in Santa Barbara, it was so normal to be imperfect. But I come to Utah and that's not really... It's
expected for you to be perfect.
Yeah. And so I'm like afraid to sit down with a bishop and express like my weaknesses and stuff because I don't know how he'll respond. And see, one thing I love about the gospel is the atonement of Jesus Christ. Yeah. How once we do repent of those things, we don't really have to talk about them anymore. Yeah. I definitely like to tell my story because I want people to know that it's very normal to be...
To mess up.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, to be imperfect. But I do think a bishop can really help you, you know, because Utah is so different, you're going to have different weaknesses here, right? So he could definitely set you straight in different ways. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. So it's crazy that we didn't have church this week also because of conference. So I'm looking forward to next week and finding my word.
I loved how our conversation started off with like talking about boys and dating, and then we just like...
fluid.
Yeah, turn into the gospel.
What's crazy is this has been going on for 20 minutes. The other one's been going on for 30. So just putting it out there, we've been talking for about 50 minutes now.
Oh my goodness.
And it just flew by. You were like, I was like, yeah, normally people come, I was telling Sarah this. Normally people are like, yeah, 10, maybe 20 minutes. And we start it. Literally hour goes by and you're like Jacobo, like we did a 45-minute one. He's like, whoa, like it's over. Like it's just so crazy. Like, it's the headphones. I don't know what it is.
It really is. And it's stuff we're passionate about and stuff we're experiencing.
Yeah. And it's conversations that we don't have enough.
Of course.
You know, and I want this. I want to be able to lock in. And that's the whole inspiration behind this is this is the conversation I want to have. I don't want to, Sarah, what's your favorite color? What's your, you know, dull, boring. I just want to get to the root of like, who is Sarah Brown?
Yeah. Tell me who you are.
Yeah. Tell me your life story. I really want to hear and get to know you and see you as closely as God sees you.
I love that idea of seeing someone for who they really are.
That's all I care about. And I think, you know, we get distracted, like you said, we get distracted by looks. We get distracted by all these other things. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we need to focus on who is the core character of that person. Let's forget the worldly, everything else. Who is Sarah Brown? Who is this person? Let me take the time to get to know them. And if I vibe with them, great. If I don't, you know? Versus like everyone's trying to put on a front here and be someone that they're not. Like, oh, I'm better than you. I'm this, I'm that. And it's just like, how are we going to build a friendship if there's no, you know what I mean? I don't know. So it's just tough. It's something that I'm realizing here. Because Santa Barbara, the thing that I took for granted was it's so easy to be myself. Because I'm accepted. I'm loved. Yeah. I can hug whoever I want. I can go and shake people and hug people. I'm a very touchy person, and that's just what it is. Like that's how I show my affection. That's how I show my love. It's natural. I'm just like, I get excited and I want to give you a big bear hug, you know? Yeah. And I did that with Bishop, and it was like, I don't know if he was used to that, because at first he was like, what is this kid doing? But it got to a point, it's like, Bishop, like you're basically like my dad. Like I'm gonna rub your belly. I'm gonna like I just feel so comfortable with you, and I think that comfort is what we're all looking for. At least for mine. Like I want to be comfortable with people. I want to be comfortable like this right now. I'm very, very comfortable just pouring out my heart to you, like laying it all out and be like, Sarah, this is how I feel. If I'm having a bad day, I'll FaceTime Sarah and be like, I don't have a good day today, you know? Yeah. And that's just, there's a lot of people in my circle and the people that I'm meeting here where it's like, I can't do that. Yeah. Because then that judgment of like, oh, he's not thriving. Oh, he's struggling in Utah. Oh, look at him. He moved out there and look, you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff where it's just like, people want to assume I'm not doing well. And that's just I'm seeing that. Like people I don't know.
I think what I struggle with too is like, obviously posting on Instagram, you share a lot of good things. Yeah. And people are like, oh, she's got the best life ever. Like she's thriving. But it's like, nah, I'm really struggling, but.
Yeah. And Instagram's a highlight reel. We all want to share like what we're doing. Of
course. Yeah.
You know, but if we could just somehow find a way to make it more candid, more real.
We'll get there.
And
also, can you guys see how we're like matching? It's Easter. We're wearing pink.
We're doing a podcast right now. You're first person in my studio, my place, like breaking it in.
We got to get like a Charles studio.
I gotta get. I'm on deck. I mean, first of all, we don't even have chair. I didn't plan this out at all. Like we're sitting on like my boxes in my room. Like
you got to black out.
Oh yeah, I gotta get a curtain, like, cause the light. Yeah, I gotta. I mean, it's a. Logistically, I have to really, this is the studio, like I gotta make it.
It'll be so good.
But yeah,
dang,
I honestly think that's perfect. This is a little longer than usual. I'll edit it maybe. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Hope you could catch the vibe that we were just giving out, I guess. We had a really great time, and yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Sarah, any last words for the people?
I think it's just amazing to see how our lives change, right? And how much we change and how much we grow. And I love that about the gospel and just everything that it brings to the table.
Yeah.
And everything that we talked about today is just from experience, and we have so much love for our life back in Santa Barbara, but at the same time we both know
we're here and we have to make it work.
Yeah, we know that God needs us here. Yep. And I've seen that already. I've been here for about 8 months, and honestly, when
8 months.
Charles told me he was coming to Utah, and I was like, Charles,
my family's coming out. Let's go. We're gonna take over. Yeah.
So I'm grateful for Charles.
I'm grateful for you.
Yeah,
and
I love this.
Once again, you, Jacobo, Taylor's a little further out, but just having connections, Santa Barbara connections in Utah was also very, very key for me.
It was like,
I'm not coming out here alone. Are you crazy? If I don't know anybody,
bro,
I got Sarah B in the building, man. We out. I'm good. I got my homie. Like,
honestly,
we good.
Oh, just one last thing, but like the night Charles moved here and I saw him, we had like the greatest gospel talk, and for me, I was like, holy crap, I needed this talk, because I feel like I've been living and surrounded in Utah with all these people, and I'm starting to forget what I had learned in Santa Barbara.
Wow.
So for me, seeing Charles was like, Sarah, get your head straight. Like, you learned so much in Santa Barbara.
You're a star, and that's it. Hey, Bishop would tell you that same thing. Like, girl, like, you got it going. Like, don't you ever forget that. You got it going. Point blank, period. And we lose sight of that because Utah's so toxic. But that's for another day. Anyways, we'll leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Thank you so much for coming on. I love that so much.
Love Charles.
Probably my favorite one. Like, this is easily like amazing. Anyways, we gotta tune out. We'll see you guys in the next one.
What is like your goodbye? Like,
I just say we'll see you guys in the next one, and then it just
see you guys in the next one.
See you guys in the next one. Appreciate it. Love you guys.
Instagram is Sarah.Jooms.
Shout it out. Boys, hit her up. She's actually, I mean, you're talking to somebody, so I don't know if you would like to. You might see this, who knows.
See you in the next one.
Okay.